Okay, so my name is John. I'm an Irish radio amateur. My call sign is Echo India 5 Juliet Sierra. And this is a video just to document a little bit of work that I was doing on an amateur radio logbook. My own little logbook, just to record contacts that I make on the radio. There's a lot of logbook software out there. A lot of it tends to have lots of text fields, lots of features and functions that could be useful to some, but I'd never used them at all. So I wanted to make something that was very minimalist, easy to use, and something that would be useful to me. So I started off writing the logbook in Python, but I've taken it as far as I can now. I don't think I can take it any further with the decisions that I made early on. So, well, let's have a look. I'll explain what the issues are and how the logbook works. So here we go. Double click on the logbook and what we get is a simple little screen like that. Now if I open up a terminal, you'll see that the screen stayed in front of the terminal. Let me open that up again. Okay, so the command line window, the terminal there opened up behind the software, or behind the logbook window. So that's one feature that I built into it. This window is always on top. It means that you can have QRZ open, QRZ.com open full screen, but your logbook will stay on top, which is very useful when you're looking for information at the same time that you're logging contacts. So let me shut my old command line down. Now, okay, so this is the software here. Very simple. It takes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bits of information. The call sign of the other station, the frequency that you work the other station on, in kilohertz, and the mode that you guys worked on, the power, the report you received, the report you gave, and any notes you want to make about the contact. So let me log a contact here, just to show you. I used the call sign. Say I worked a chap in England, Golf 0 Whiskey Papa Alpha. I know I've never worked Golf 0 Whiskey Papa Alpha because that's actually my English call sign. And I worked Golf 0 Whiskey Papa Alpha on 7123 kilohertz. So I put in 7123 kilohertz. And I worked them, of course, on USB. I worked them on lower sideband because it's 40 meters. I worked them on 100 watts. Because my antenna is a wet piece of string, and if I don't put 100 watts into it, I find it hard getting out. The report I received in was 5 and 8. G0WPA is a generous guy. I think he probably only had me above the nose, but he gave me a 5 and 8. And now I should say I'm using the tab button here to move between the fields, so I don't have to use the mouse. I gave him a 5 and 9. Because I wasn't feeling particularly generous that day. So the guy's name is John, and he's in England. So I've put in the information that I want to store for this contact. If I decided that, if I lost John, and the contact, I didn't want to store the contact for whatever reason, I can hit the clear button here, and this clears all the fields, and it puts the cursor back up the top ready for the next contact. But having put all this in, I'm not going to do that again, so I'll just press save there, and as soon as I save it, it clears them all, but it's put that information into the logbook. So let me say I go on to work I2 GGY station, and he was on 7123 kilohertz also, and he's also on lower sideband. But while I'm talking to him, we don't really establish a contact. He fades out, so I don't want this data. If I tab down now to the clear button, or I can use the mouse to get to the clear button, press clear, it gets rid of that information and it puts me back up into the call sign field there for the next contact. The last button then that I've got is the logbook button here. Now I can mouse click onto it, or I've just shift tabbed backwards onto it, and if I press logbook, the logbook opens up. Now if you come down to the last entry on the logbook, we'll see that we spoke to John in England, Golf Zero Whiskey Papa Alpha, which I pointed out was actually me. It's my old call sign, so it's not a contact that I ever made. But you can see that the information is all stored there. Now, if this data, all these contacts here, are stored in a database courtesy of SQLite. Okay, it's a lighter version of SQL. And it's running on this computer. So that's the first mistake I made, really. It would have been better if I'd just written to a text file, maybe comma separated CSV file, or a plain text file, backed up, so I never lose data, even in the event of a catastrophic failure. Back it up maybe automatically to the cloud just being someone else's computer, or back it up to another hard drive. But that's really what I should have done, rather than using SQLite. When I realised that I'd done that, when I realised the implications of using SQLite and how the software wasn't going to work then as a single piece of software without having to have SQLite as a dependency, I decided I wouldn't take it any further. But I did want to be able to edit the values in this. Now I've added Golf Zero Whiskey Papa Alpha in there onto the end of what is actually my real logbook, so I don't want that fake contact in there. I want to remove it. So I've got a button down here which allows us to open up this database in a third-party piece of software. You can see the functionality of the logger screen there. It stays on top the whole time. But yeah, I want to get rid of that fake contact that I put in there. So if I press browse data in the SQ browser here, and I come right down to the end, there's the contact I want to get rid of. Now, if I just wanted to change a value, I could just double click on any of the fields, and it comes up in the edit window here. So if the guy's name wasn't John but it was Josh, well then I could change his name to Josh, press apply. Josh now comes down here, and then I can write changes, and that writes the change to the database. Then if when I come back to my logbook, you'll see that the name has changed to Josh. Now actually I don't want to change it to Josh. What I want to do is actually get rid of the contact, because it was just a test entry really to make this video. So I'll pull this off to one side there. If I use, I'll just pull this bar down. I can barely see that bar. But anyway, so I'll come down to this contact here and highlight the whole line. And I believe if I right click, no, that's not right. There's a way to actually delete that line. No, and I can't see it there, so it's going to be one of these. Export the file, import. Okay. I'm missing something obvious there. There's obviously, it'd be one of these, wouldn't it? Save, print, insert, delete current, what's that? delete current record. Okay, so I click on that and it's disappeared there. Then I need to write these changes to my database, so the next time I open up my logbook, that entry is no longer in there. Sorry about that, people. Okay, so if anybody thinks that they could take, or if anyone's got a bit of Python experience and they'd like to maybe take this a little further, I'll include my GitHub page in the description, so you can go download download the code and play away to your heart's content. The only thing I would say is, if you make any improvements, please include, please copy those improvements back to me so I can learn from what you've done, and that'd be ideal. So there's actually 2 bits of software, or 2 bits of code, and that's another thing that I'm going to rewrite this program in C, but I'll want to include it all in the one piece of code if possible, or investigate how 2 pieces of code can be rolled into one executable. I think that's entirely possible, but it's beyond my knowledge at the moment anyway. So this is the logger software here, and you can see that there's not a great deal to it. It's just drawing the window, drawing the boxes, adding text and jumping between the boxes, and entering data into the boxes and writing them to an SQLite table, a database table. Similarly with the Logbook software, that's even shorter. That's just reading from that table and showing it in a nice sort of grey window like I had. Now the only thing is, if anybody does download this code, I've hard coded my locations and my folders into the code. Now I think there's 2 locations on each, so you'll need to change that for your own. And to make it work, of course, you'll need SQLite. You'll need both of these bits of code, and you'll need a database browser to at least get you up and running. You can then delete. I mean, if you manage to change this for it to write into a text file, no database needed, then you delete SQLite and the DB browser or whatever. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't think there's much more to say. And really, this is just to document for myself more than anything. Where I got with the Python version of this logbook, and I'll use it as a reference. I suppose at a later stage, when I've rewritten this in C, I'll still have the Python code, of course, to look at. But anyway, look, I hope that's useful for somebody. Maybe somebody would like to take the code and run with it and turn it into their own little logbook from my humble beginnings. But yeah, and feel free to leave comments in the down below. Anyway, good ones and bad ones, they're all they'll all be useful to me. So yeah, 73s fellas, and take care, and catch you all further down the log. Bye bye.